Going live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Life is one of the heaviest beams one can try to support. It is known to go through storms that contain heavy winds and downpours. But you are built to stand and not collapse. I challenge you to grow out of your comfort zone. The biggest giant you will ever face in life is your mindset. One of the biggest things that limit us and keep us defeated is the opinion we have of ourselves. When I changed my mind, it changed my life. I didn't just survive, I bounced back better. Bounce 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 back better.
Hello, happy Sunday to everybody. We are back again with LifeStruction with Eric. Hope you guys had a great week and hope you guys are having a great weekend. I had a great one myself. Great time. Got to experience some great weather, but enough about me. We have a great interview and discussion for you guys today. Great friend of mine that I went to school with, little sister. I hope Urshel gets to watch today. But yeah, definitely Miss Angelia Cross Cobbs. She has a very powerful story. First of all, everyone that's watching, take the time to share this post. Please click on that share button. Invite all of your friends to come on and watch this right now. Go ahead and click that share button. Also, if you have any questions for us while we are streaming, be sure to type it in the comments section over there, and we'll definitely get those comments, those questions answered for you sometimes during the broadcast. But once again, we have Miss Angelia Cross Cobbs that will be sharing with us today. She has a very powerful story of how the enemy just targeted her and just tried to just isolate her in the valley, leave her for dead. But because of her faith and determination, she fought through until she made it out. And she made it out of the hidden valley, and now she is the king's daughter. I just love it. I love your story. So I'm not going to tell the story because I've been told the whole first book myself. I mean, I just was mesmerized, but I'm just going to turn it over to Miss Cobbs and let her share her story with you guys. So right now I'm going to turn it over to you.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Thank you, Eric, so much for having me on this evening. I'm telling you, I am truly blessed. I'm just thankful for the opportunity, and I'm just thankful just to be here. You know, now when we celebrate birthdays, when we wake up in the morning, we celebrate. A day above ground is indeed a blessing. And so I'm just thankful to be here. Thank you so much. You read my first book, The Valley Experience, and I released that book in 2016. Let me back up a moment. I'm first a wife, you know, and I'm a proud mom. I'm telling you, I'm a caregiver to my mom. I wrote about that in my second book, The King's Daughter. And I'm just thankful. I am also a business owner, co-owner with my husband Warren of Level Up Art Jewelry. I manage my daughter, who is now 7 years old. She released her first book at the age of 6. My dream.
Wow.
So yes, I mean, God is truly amazing. This is Sunday, but I don't want to take you to church, but it is Sunday.
It is Sunday. It is.
Yes. I'm just thankful to be here, and The Valley experience, like I said, back in 2016, I wrote this book. I had no idea that I would be an author. I never desired to be an author, to write a book. My leaders prophesied to me. I went through the Valley. It was definitely the Valley experience back in 2008. And after recovering about 2 years after 2008, so about 2010, that's when I received a prophetic word that my story would be heard worldwide. I didn't know how my story, would be heard, but I was just like, okay, we gotta, when you hear something, it gotta get down inside of you.
Right.
Yes. So I mean, and now 2021, I am a best-selling author. I just released The King's Daughter. I mean, God is blessing. Look at that. God is blessing. Yes. And I mean, it's even in Walmart. So God is amazing. Yes. I'm thankful. I am thankful. And I just want to speak life to someone, encourage someone who is out there who may be experiencing a valley. We all have a story to tell, but some of us get in a place of fear where we don't want to tell because of shame, because of the pain, because of the hurt. But I come to tell you guys on this evening that in the midst of that, in the midst of the valley, there is purpose. And Eric, I was asking myself, and then I was asking God, like I said, I'm sorry, I apologize to those who already went to church, but this is who I am. This is my solid foundation. If you read the Valley experience, then you know the structure right there. But
Right.
I was asking God, like, what do I tell the people? What do I say? Because when you headed up this, you pretty much asked, like, well, you said how the enemy wanted to leave me for dead in the valley. So I asked, like, what do I say? And the word that came to me was purpose. Purpose was right there. So he couldn't kill me. The enemy targeted me, but he could not kill me because guess what? He don't have that much power. He
Right.
don't. Yes. So I'm just excited about what God is doing. I am.
Yeah, that's big stuff. Big stuff. And I mean, just to see you, when we did our test connect, and when I was waiting to connect you, you just had this huge smile on your face. And I mean, you're glowing. And this book here, The Valley Experience, when I read that book, and you talked about the things that you went through, from the first car accident that the guardrail stopped you from going down in the water. The second car accident that threw you up, ejected you out of your vehicle, and you landed way over where, you said you were laying there and you just knew you were going to die. Yeah. And then when someone finally found you, you said you remember hearing that muffled sound saying, she's not going to make it. She's not going to make it. Yes. And then it goes on to you out with family, just trying to enjoy, what was the 4th of July? You're just trying to enjoy it. And people started shooting, and you guys make it to the car and get in the car, and you put your seatbelt on, and the bullet comes through the car, and the bullet hits the seatbelt. And that was what saved your life, and then you go on, and you guys are pregnant with twins. Yes. And, you had to go through losing one of the twins, when you were birthing the two of them, you lost one of them, yes. And then it didn't stop there. You ended up in a psychiatric ward.
Come on.
And now you're sitting here, with the smile on your face, you was in that psychiatric ward, but they never gave you any meds, because, like you said in your book, once you find yourself into there, more than likely you won't come home. Right. Once they start giving you that medication, more than likely you're going to be taking it for the rest of your life. You're going to be walking around looking like a zombie.
Yes.
But because of that doctor that came in to see you that next day, he was like, nothing is wrong with you.
Right.
You don't supposed to be here.
No.
You know, and we hear it all the time, favor, and it's like, we go through stuff and we wonder why me, why me, why me. And sometimes we get off track in life, and it's just like he's going to let us keep bumping our head. And one of the things you kept saying, God, if you just get me through this, I promise you, God, if you just get me through this, I promise you, God, if you just get me through this, I promise you. And he was like, okay, you said that the last time.
Come on.
And you said that the last time, so it's just amazing, to read your story and see how, because a lot of people wouldn't have made it out.
Right. And Eric, it's amazing that you said that, because I remember, and I dare not call the name, but I remember being in that mental institution with someone from our hometown.
Uh-huh.
And because I that person didn't recognize me, but I recognized that person. And so
because you was in your right mind.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And I have seen this person. We don't take joy in no one else's demise or downfall, but
right.
That still is not the same.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, God, you amazing. I had to go before the judge to be released back out into the community. Listen, when I went before the judge, Eric, the judge said, ma'am, at that time I wasn't married. So Miss Cross, I don't know why you here. This is the judge.
Mm-hmm.
And Miss Cross, I can't even keep you here. Not only can I not hold you here, but I'm going to send you back in the community under no supervision, under no medication. That was in 2008. When people read the book, The Valley Experience, this past week, someone read the book. They purchased both books. Someone read that book, got my phone number.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to answer the call. Do you not know the person left a voicemail? And when I played the voicemail, I was in tears of joy, because the person said, oh my God, if I could play it for you, I would, just to be an encouragement to someone else, because the person said, wait a minute, you're not the same person. I can't even tell. You were where? Come on, you were left for dead in the woods. Your eye was hanging on a socket. You went through 3 trauma units up at MCV. At that time, Urshel, she was living in New York. It was said with that accident, Eric, that she was flown in from New York. When she walked into that hospital room, she had to run back out because she couldn't even take how I looked. And at that time, I think that was the first trauma unit. So people is like, wait a minute, you went through all of that? Yes, I did. All behind purpose. I'm telling you.
Right.
And so I just am humble. I'm thankful for the journey. I am.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I mean, you would be claiming too much ownership of what he brought you out of if you weren't grateful and thankful.
Yes.
Because so many times we make it out of something, and then we want to go back and play Russian roulette with the valley again, and then he'll place us in there permanently. But when you're grateful, you look at everything that he did while you were in that valley and how he brought you out. Yes. You don't want to go back there.
Never.
You don't want to go back there. But one thing that you can do, and like I, feel like it's my purpose to do, we were in 2 different type of valley experiences, but you're doing the same thing as I'm doing on a daily basis, trying to help people out that's still stuck in the valley.
Yeah.
Because, I just feel like that's my divine purpose. And so many people are stuck and they don't know how to pull themselves out of it, and like you could have did and like I could have did, they could easily give up. Right. But that's not part of our calling. We don't supposed to give up. No. And sometimes he places us there just to see how first he wants us to humble ourselves while
Yeah.
we're there. But at the same time, he wants to see how much strength we have to push ourselves out of it.
Yes, yes. And then I learned too through the midst of these 13 years that he give some of the toughest battles to the strongest soldiers.
Right. That's
Can
right.
trust us. You know, in order to endure such a valley, he knows that he can trust you. He,
Mm-hmm.
he knew, yes, this girl, she gonna fight through this. She not gonna give up. She gonna come out stronger. She's not going back. Cause this time here, we don't put, the enemy. I mean, so much shame and pain was there.
Right.
You
Right.
know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but
Well, I was going to ask you a question, and you almost answered it. You may want to further elaborate on it. But I was getting ready to ask you, as I read your book and realized the structured life that you were living, because you were going to church, you had the youth groups that you were dealing with, you were very, very much hands-on, in your ministry. So why do you feel the enemy chose to attack you?
wow. I feel that the enemy, he chose to attack me because, like I said, he don't know everything, but he can see a tad bit. And he knew that the great assignment that was on my life. So he was like, you know what? If I can attack her and cause her to abort her destiny,
Uh-huh.
that abortion, come on, if he had that much power, he could have, but he didn't. So he
Right.
chose me, because he wanted me defeated. He saw the purpose behind all of it, and that's what I want people to know. Sometimes when we're talking to people and you tell people, you give people a warning, it could be out of love, out of concern. It's not that he just targeted me. It's three things that he came to do: kill, steal, and to destroy.
Right.
You know,
Right.
so just because we were born, we were automatically born with a target on our back. You know,
Yes.
so I mean, he thought that he could, but he couldn't. He couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
He did not. And like I said, so much came from it. I hope I'm not going into another question you may ask me, but if it's any, and I hope somebody is watching this, if it's any way that you want to pay back the enemy, all you have to do is live out your God-given purpose. If you
Yeah.
want, listen, I ain't talking about attacking or fighting back in the flesh, but if you want to get back and pay the enemy back, just walk into your destiny. You
Yeah.
said it. Matter of fact, in your intro, you said fight. You said walk. Keep walking. Coming
Right.
out what? Stronger.
Right.
Yes.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Oh yeah. That's good. That's good. Because it was almost like, it reminded me kind of myself. I was in church, and I was showing up during the week. I'm doing Bible study. I could pray the house down. But at the same time, you know, that old flesh
The
kept
flesh.
on
Yeah.
attacking me. And during the week after hours, I used to call it the after hours, where I would be off doing my thing, whatever, but it caught up with me.
Exactly.
It eventually, because first of all, God is going to bring us, He's going to bring everything that we're trying to do, you know, in the backfield. He's going to bring it all to the forefront so we can be exposed,
Yeah.
because, when you would call yourself living for Him, and you're going behind His four walls, and you're active in ministry. And
Mm,
then when you get on the other side of the walls, you're active in your flesh. He's going
right.
to find a way to expose you. And it was almost like when I was reading your book and I saw everything that you was doing, and then
Yes.
these things kept happening. It was almost like that cell phone commercial, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Because seemed like every time that you got on the right track, and then something would happen and it would pull you away, And when I read the part about, when you became, the security officer,
Yes.
and you said you started to hang around people and you started to be around people that was using mad profanity
Yes.
and they were drinking, and you was like, you had never did any of that, and then you was on your way to work that morning,
Right.
and that's when you had that accident that almost took your life. And you was like, when you was able to go back to work, you went back for one reason, and that was for to turn in your resignation.
Yes.
you
Yes.
know and I'm like, wow. And a lot of people have been like, you've been out of work for over a year and now you're gonna resign.
And,
How you gonna make it?
I had to, because that was my lifesaver. And
Right.
I had to resign, because he allowed that to happen. Like you said, partying, telling, look, lies. I just want to help somebody get free on this evening.
Right.
All
Right.
of the lying, all of the cursing, the flesh. Y'all know the works of the flesh, it surfaced. Like you said, God, he's gonna, sooner or later you will be exposed,
Right. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah. So when you were admitted to the psychiatric hospital,
yeah.
and as we spoke earlier about, most people that go in, they don't come out, or if they do come out, they're pretty much a walking zombie.
Yeah.
When you went in and they closed that door, did you feel like that was it? Did you feel like you would never make it out of there? You felt like the enemy had claimed victory over you and had finally got you where he didn't have to worry about, you advancing anymore because he had you locked up in there?
Now see the flesh side of me
Mm-hmm.
was feeling defeated.
Oh, okay.
Like
Gotcha.
this is it. This is it. Because mind you, when you read, I was going in and out. So like during the daytime, I was my normal self. But at night, as it got closer to nighttime, that's when the
Uh-huh.
heavy attacks came.
Okay.
And so once I got there, I'm telling you, Eric, my spirit, I was fighting. That's when I really woke up. Like, listen, girl, you do not belong here. You have your children. You have 3 children that need you. Come on,
Right.
snap out of this. I was literally at war. I was at war. I'm telling you, because the flesh was cool with, oh yeah, I'm on a vacation.
Right. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I ain't got no bills. I ain't worried about seeing no one. See, that's the isolation. The enemy wanted me to be isolated,
Right.
because
Right.
if you know anything about 2021, people are dealing with heavy depression,
Yes.
anxiety, loneliness. That's the trick of the enemy. Because
Yeah.
when he gets you to that place, oh yeah, that's when he's gonna have his way. But my spirit man was fighting. I was like, no, God, you got to deliver me out of here. I know I promised you. Look, I couldn't even count no more how many promises I had made. I said, but Lord, if you do it for me this time, come on,
Yes. Yeah,
this
yeah.
time. Because I know we go through, we'll see people suffering or going through the cancer. We'll see people dealing with high blood pressure, but the mind controls everything.
Yes. Yes. Oh yeah.
So that attack, yeah, he hit me hard, Eric, with that
Mm-hmm.
attack. So like I said, I was just fighting. I knew I didn't belong there, but that's when my spirit man was going even harder. I even got closer to the nurses. You know,
Uh-huh. Right,
uh,
right. Yeah.
most people in those institutions are like you said, zombies. You'll see them in their room. I remember so clear. I would see the men and the women just, pretty much dead man walking, Eric.
Right. Right.
No, sister girl right here was sitting next to the nurses, like, hey, do you have a job I can do? You
Uh-huh.
know,
Mm-hmm.
it's time for me to go up out of here.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
And
yes.
and if you wasn't in your right mind, and they know that they knew that you weren't in your right mind, they wouldn't even entertain your conversation. But they
Yes,
already knew it's something different about this one right here.
yes,
She knows what she's saying. and she's speaking with the clear. Well, we know she's speaking with the clear mind because we haven't gave her any type of medication.
None.
Yeah.
I remember one nurse, she was an RN, and she said, you're a special young lady because you have a lot of phone calls coming up here.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, that was against their policy area.
Right.
I started having phone calls. They started giving me the phone. Favor inside of the mental institution.
God created your own personal line while you was in there.
Oh, God. Yes. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. So, also,
Okay.
another, it's crazy. I was telling my manager when I read your book,
Yes.
your book, The Valley Experience, and my book, LifeStruction, it's from two different Valley experiences, but
Wow.
the way that you made your chapters out, and the
Yes.
way that I made my chapters out, they all hit on the same thing.
Oh my gosh.
They all hit on the same thing, and it's crazy because everyone that I read, let's see, where's your chapters? And I'm like, this is crazy, and as I read it, I could relate to the chapters, and I'm like, this is like you said, riding the fence.
Yes.
Basically you said riding the fence, and then what was it? Nightmare on My Street, self-destruction. And basically I called one of my chapters was the wrecking ball, when I felt like, and then one of them was the demolition. So basically it's just the final battle, recovery drive. Mine was called the pre-plan. One of them was called the pre-plan, and then strong, but how strong are you? Then basically mine was the restructuring process, the rebuilding process. It's crazy.
Wow.
And one of the things that stood out, I could relate to a lot of it from my story, but one of the things that stood out was when you guys had to go through when you were pregnant with your twins.
Yes.
And first you went to the hospital and they said you were taking on too much fluid.
Yes.
And they was able to rectify that situation and you was able to go home. And when I started reading a little further into it, and when you said you went to the doctor that day and you felt that cold gel and he moved everywhere that he possibly could move it, I already knew where your story was going. Because my wife and we went through that, well, I was at work, but her mom called me and she said, leave work and leave work now. And I was like, what's wrong? And she was like, they can't find a heartbeat on the baby. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. We were 2 weeks out from the delivery date. And when I read your story and you talked, yours was, all the way down to bringing her in the room, and we held her for like an hour. They dressed her really pretty, and they had us down the hall by ourselves. So we just had our praise and worship on, and we just held her, spent time with her. And I'm looking, and you guys did the same thing.
Yes.
But your story was a little different than mine because you actually birthed one. You birthed the life of one, but then your other one basically didn't make it. So how were you able to, not just you and your husband, how are you guys able to push through trying to celebrate and love on the one that made it and at the same time mourn the one that didn't make it?
Wow. And you know what? We've always heard the term bittersweet. We've heard that throughout the years.
Yeah.
When I tell you that we had no other choice but to rejoice, because Eric, I know you saw with Jasmine, my baby that did survive, she was also pronounced deceased too.
Right. Yes.
We lost Jasmine for like 10 minutes. And you know, I'm not a doctor, I'm not in the medical field, but anytime life is gone for that amount of time,
Right.
it's supposed to be some type of
Defect.
defect. It does. But no, so we had to push through. We were rejoicing, you know, like, God, thank you. Like, we're hurting, you know, even now, every day we think about Jewel, you know, but we sitting out there at the graveside and we were singing. I'll never forget it. Even now when we sing it at church, how great is our God. You know, my faith had to kick in, you know, because really, even in that, the enemy wanted me to pretty much give up on God, even in that. But then I
Right.
couldn't
Right.
give up on God because God had restored life.
Right.
You
Right.
know, He restored life. And then, even in, you know, all the tests that the doctors were giving Jasmine in the NICU, she was passing every test. Now, mind you, I don't know if you know how Norfolk General Hospital is set up. So it's a close quarters. It's like you can hear the next family's business. You know,
Okay. Okay.
so Warren and I, we sitting in there, and you know, I'm nursing, you know, and the doctor would come in to another family and tell that family, we're so sorry, she didn't pass the test, because they have to run a series of tests. You know, Jasmine was only 3 pounds, you know, at 6 ounces. Hearing test, ding, she passed it. I'm telling you, so God set it up so good, Eric, that we couldn't even stay in the place of mourning. We could
Wow.
not stay there. And
Yeah.
oh, that was the setup for us to stay there.
Right.
But we couldn't. We could not. Mm-mm.
Wow.
And now, you know, Jasmine reads, you know, we could be going down the interstate, and before I can read a sentence, she done read the sentence, you know. She completes my sentences, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I'm
Yeah.
talking improper, she comes behind me and says, Mama, that's not how you say it. You know. Yes, this is the miracle, because her
Wow.
name is Miracle.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Jasmine Miracle. So we couldn't give up or sit there at a place of mourning when God still did a blessing for us.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
That's just amazing. I mean, because I mean, when you say 10 minutes, I mean that means no oxygen to the brain for 10 minutes. And you know, in Phoenix,
Mm-hmm.
I see it all the time. You know, it's almost like once a week. The thing pops up. 3-year-old, 5-year-old, 7-year-old just pulled from the pool. You know,
Mm.
they have a pulse, but looks like they were underwater for about 3 minutes. They were underwater for about 5 minutes. Those kids don't make it, you
Wow.
know, or if they do survive, you know, they're brain dead.
Yes.
So to hear 10 minutes,
10
you
minutes.
know, and now we're talking about somebody that's very unique, not only just unique, 7 years old,
Yes.
author, you know,
Author.
7-year old author of a book. I mean, it's amazing.
Yes. Yes.
Amazing. You know, and that what I love about that is at a young life, at a young age, you recognize your purpose. You know, she's looking up to you, she's looking up to her dad,
Yes.
and you know, you guys, you know, you've written 2 books. You know, your husband makes some amazing jewelry, you know, and she's like, my parents, you know, they're creative, they're entrepreneurs, you
Yes.
know, they're walking this thing out. So I want to do what they're doing, you
Yes.
know, and she started at a young age. Now just look at what she could do just
Wow.
if she's doing this thing every year, every 2 years. I mean, it just opens the doors. And not only just for her,
Right.
other kids her age that see what she's doing, you know, that's why a lot of kids do what they do, because they see it's possible to be done at a young age,
It
you know,
is.
and then it's like, hey, I want to do this, I want to
Yeah.
do that. So I love it when I see young kids that's, you know, pushing to the next dimension, because it's, I mean, it's like a wide open market for us.
Yes.
Long as, like you said, you use your mind.
Use
You
your
use your
mind.
mind.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I remember, a matter of fact, through the midst of that, I was knocked out because it was an emergency.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my husband, my leaders were there. When I tell you, when I came through, and they told me the prayer, and I hope someone is watching that maybe have given up on prayer or given up on miracles. Please do not give up. I'm telling you, they joined together believing that life would be restored. And
Yeah.
oh God, and it happened.
Oh
God,
yeah.
yes, yes. I just had to
Oh yeah.
throw that in there
Oh
because
yeah, definitely.
people think oh, it ain't no miracles happening, or that's a make believe.
They happen every day.
Every day.
Miracles happen every day.
Yes.
Every day.
Mm.
Yeah, and I mean, just breathing life itself every day is a miracle. But it's something that so many take for granted. But breathing life itself is a miracle because there is somebody that took their last breath. Not just somebody. There's a lot of people that took their last breath in the 30 minutes or so that we've been on this broadcast.
Yes.
Somebody didn't wake up this morning. Went to bed in perfectly good health,
Yes.
just didn't wake up. So it's a miracle to walk this earth and be able to breathe, which we do it so many days in a row that we
Right.
start taking it for granted, and we think that we are just we're just these big old people that's entitled to it,
Ooh,
but we're not.
we're
We're
not.
not. And once again, he can bring you down and make you humble yourself when you get to that point. you
Real quick.
know
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
definitely. And also in your book, you talked a lot about when you and Warren was dating, before you guys got married, and you kind of went through, some things, then you got back on the clean slate again, then you kind of went through a few things. And, but one of the things I loved is you decided, somewhere in there, you decided to back away from him. And it was like he didn't pressure you, he gave you your space.
Right.
But, eventually, God brought you two guys back together, and you rectified some things and rebuilt, and got your relationship where you wanted to get to. You guys were living together and weren't married, and you
Right.
figured, we got to get this right, and you guys did it.
Yes.
Because at one point in the book, I was like, before she mentioned his name, I'm like, is this Warren she's talking about? Because I know they're married now, but
Right.
I don't know where this story is going. I don't think she with this guy no more. But as I kept reading, I was like, okay, it was Warren, and they are still together. I've never officially met Warren.
You.
No, I went out. Can you hear me?
I can't hear you. Let me see. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can the viewers hear me? Can someone type yes if you can hear me?
No sound. Can
We
you
lost
hear
sound.
that? Oh,
We lost
goodness.
sound. What happened? Somebody said we can hear you both. So you guys can hear me now. Okay, great. Sorry about that.
How
Not sure
about
what
now?
happened. Okay, thank God they can hear us. So I love the yeses. People are paying attention. Thank you. So one of the things that I want,
No.
right? One of the things that I would like to ask you is, what advice would you give to someone that kind of is going through relationship problems and they're about to give up? What type of advice would you give to someone? Can you still not hear me?
Wow.
And you didn't hit your mute button?
I don't know what to do.
Because I can hear you fine. That's weird. Okay. Well, while I'm waiting for her to you hit mute. Your mic is
Okay, I
showing.
still can't hear.
No? Okay.
Wow.
Okay, so guys, do you have any questions
Can I come back in
right
or
now?
come back out or something?
You may want to try to go out and come back in.
What is saying on?
Do you have any questions
Can I come back in
right now?
come back out or something?
You may want to try to go out and come back in.
Okay. What is saying on?
Okay. So guys, while we're waiting for to try to get this fixed, want to come over here and if we have any people that's watching for the first time today, thank you so much for tuning in. During the week, I'm always posting on my Instagram page as well as the LifeStruction with Eric Facebook page. So if you are on any of those platforms, the top one is my Instagram _ Eric Winfield. Also, Facebook page is at LifeStruction with Eric. And also, we have a YouTube channel, LifeStruction with Eric as well. On Sundays, we stream on both Facebook Live and YouTube. So if you know someone that doesn't have a Facebook page, but they do have YouTube, they can definitely click on that and watch the stream. But definitely follow us on the Facebook page as well as the Instagram page to kind of keep up with the stuff that we have going on. We have some good stuff that we post there during the week time. Can you hear me now?
I can.
Okay, great. So we're back at it. Thank you guys for not logging off while we were trying to fix those technical difficulties. But my question to you was talking about you guys' relationship, how you kind of went through some stuff, but you were able to rectify it, and you guys, got married, and everything has been great since then. What type of advice would you give to someone that is going through relationship problems and they don't know whether to hang in there or to just give up?
So my advice to anyone who is on the verge of giving up, I would say this to you. Ask yourself the question. I'm telling you, in 13 years, I've learned to live on purpose. Eric, you said something. You said that Warren gave me my space, and then God brought us back together. So the first thing I would say to you, if God put you two together, if God put you two together, then guess what? It's worth the fight.
Right.
I mean, whoever is out there listening and you want to throw in the towel on your relationship, if God put you two together, I'm telling you to endure. Do not throw in the towel. I'm telling you there's purpose there. But if you know, how can I say it? That God didn't give you him or vice versa, then you gotta weigh the pros and cons. But if God did it, then it's worth the fight. Go ahead and endure. And then you know what? Love conquers all.
Yes.
Love conquers everything.
Definitely.
Both parties willing to fight for it. I tell my kids now, Eric, I say, if anything is easy, then guess what? It's not worth it.
Right.
Even down to the career, the relationship. If it's easy, if you can just pick it up like that, then guess what? You might want to leave it right there.
Right. That's right.
Yes.
That's right. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Well, this discussion has been amazing. Before we go a little bit further to talk about, they give these links on how they can purchase your books and stuff. This one, it came right when I was getting ready to leave for my anniversary trip, so I didn't get to read this one. I knocked the other one out, but I will start reading this one tonight. But feel free to give the viewers some a little bit of info on what the king's daughter is about.
Okay, so the king's daughter pretty much is after you. I'm talking about after you have survived your valley experience. I mean, after
Uh-huh.
you have endured like a good soldier, and you have overcame the unthinkable. You know, you will be able to see the blessings manifest over your life. Things
Mm-hmm.
that people, said couldn't happen. Guess what? The manifestation is coming. Here in the King's Daughter, I talked a lot about parenting. I hit there on parenting. I talked a lot about leaving a legacy.
Okay.
Because if I had given up, wow, in the valley experience, I would have affected generations after me.
Right. Yes, yes,
So
yes.
I talked about parenting. I talked about planting seeds. Let's talk about those seeds that we are planting, good or bad. Guess what? They will come. Matter of fact, they are coming back up. So I talked a lot about let me see, how to carry ourselves. I don't know, like 2019, that's when the kings and the queens start rising. They started rising, but yet they ain't cleaned the house up.
Come on. Wow. Wow. Yeah.
So we want the titles, but we don't want the responsibility.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
many of us have children, but what are you sowing into those kids?
Yes.
So I
Yes.
I would I don't just recommend the King's Daughter because I wrote it, but honestly, it's some key principles I'm telling
Okay.
to help you in day to day. I'm not one of those writers where I would have a 300-page book. I
Right.
I want
Right.
something that people can pick up, and guess what? They can go to this every day.
Uh-huh.
It's
Right.
in there every day.
I love it. I
Yes,
love it. That's what I'm talking about. Yes, because I mean, when it's too thick, somewhere up in there, it's going to get a little boring. you
yes,
know but when you keep it right at 100 pages, or somewhere from 70 to 100 pages,
right.
and you make it powerful from the beginning to the end, like you said, every day you can pick it up and you
Yeah,
can read something to reflect back on it. One of the things I heard you say was talking about, if you didn't act on a certain part of it, you would have destroyed some generations, that came after you. And I was just speaking about this on our broadcast a few weeks ago about breaking those generational curses, you
yes,
know, because it has to start somewhere. And, I was saying it has to start somewhere. Why don't you let it be you?
yes,
Because it's like, well, my mother did this, and before my mother, her brother did it. You
right.
have you hear that over and over, and then people start doing it because they saw that loved one that did it. They
Right.
doing this because they saw that loved one that did it, and you're doing it without asking questions. So
Yeah.
you're doing it, and you don't even know why you're doing it.
Right.
And you've been doing it only because you know what you thought it was a tradition. It wasn't a tradition, it's a curse. And
Yes.
basically it then had a stronghold in your family for over 5 decades
Mm.
because nobody decided to research it and figure out why this person is doing this. you
Yes.
know
Yes.
and we all know it only takes one person. And then this, instead of them looking at it that, well, I'm doing this because my uncle did it and it was something negative,
Right.
now is, well, I want to write a book. Angela has written two.
Right.
Her book is in Walmart. I want
Right.
to write a book. So now it's been turned. So now it's not a generational curse. Now
Right.
we're talking about building family wealth, you
Generation.
know,
Yes.
generational wealth. And now we're going that way, so now everybody's going to want to jump on board
Yes.
because this is something positive. You know,
Yes.
everybody likes to see a few zeros and, be able to add a comma in
Come
your,
on.
in your bank account,
That's
you
right.
know, where you can start being the lender and not the borrower, you
Yes.
know. So I mean, that's what it's all about. I love it. I
Yes.
love it. So I did post a link there for everyone that's watching. I posted that link there. You can go and you can order The King's Daughter. Now, this link is the Valley Experience on this link as well.
It is.
Okay, so for both, basically you can go to that link and you can actually order both of these books. You know, I definitely recommend the Valley Experience. I read it, and there's not one author yet that I purchased their first book, and then I purchased the second one, and the second one wasn't just as powerful as the first one. Yes. Because, you know, any author that I have come across, you know, if you know, you're just not meant to write one book. We all have more than one book in us. Yeah. So you're not just, and the more you write, the better they get, and the more people they're going to bless. So definitely go there and purchase that book. She talked about her daughter as well. You can go and get her daughter's book.
Let's see.
Yeah.
So she have the actual book, My Ice Cream Dream, and then last year during the pandemic, she decides, Mama, now I want a coloring book.
Wow.
So she did the book first, and then last year she released the coloring book.
Okay.
Yes. So that's and it's a blessing when you go into the classrooms, you see the books there. You go into the library, you see, you know, and it's amazing. We're humble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. Mm-hmm. Definitely. Well, I'm definitely going to bless her. I'm going to order some of these for my little nieces, my great nieces, actually. I'm going to definitely order some for them. And I'm just going to get their address so I can make sure I can just have it shipped straight to them. Thank you. I'm definitely going to be a blessing and get those ordered for them. Yeah. And then we have you guys jewelry. And we have that link there as well.
Yes.
So definitely check them out.
Yes.
Yeah, her husband, he has a very unique way of the way that he put his jewelry together. So definitely check him out.
Eric, that's out of this world.
Yes. Yes, definitely. Definitely.
And himself.
And I can tell it's a lot of thought put into it. So a lot of thought and a lot of hands-on.
Yes.
So definitely go and support them on that. I thank you so much for coming on. And definitely go and support. Loved your story from the beginning to the end. Loved it. And I told you, she was very nervous, guys. She was like, I've been nervous ever since you sent me the invite. I've been nervous. I was like, I guarantee you're going to open your mouth, and in the first 30 seconds, it's just going to be like, and you're going to be ready to just take over my broadcast, because you're just going to be like, I got this. So I told you were going to do great.
Thank you so much. Yes.
So Alicia Brown, she's a publisher. Okay.
Yes.
Awesome.
Asked that like the first.
She's watching right now. So okay.
She's awesome. I'm telling you, a wealth of information. The level, and you know, I'm humble, but where I am with the King's Daughter, I could not have gotten there without her.
Okay.
She
now,
Jasmine too.
Now, does she just do publishing, or does she do like a little bit of editing and all of that as well?
Yes. When I tell you I can't keep up with her, she does all editing. Yes. Editing. Actually, she has her own publishing company.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I'll be reaching out to you after this broadcast to let you know some things that I need some help with, Miss Brown. So you just see how this broadcast brings people together. You just got a new client. I would be inboxing you soon as I wrap this thing up, because I've been in search for the past 2 weeks of trying to find somebody to help me with something I need help with.
Are you
so
serious? Wow.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
definitely. I'll be in touch with you, Miss Brown. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on. Thanks everybody. I'm reading comments here. And when I said I was going to purchase some coloring books from your daughter, my manager is on. He said, yes, Eric loves the coloring books. Yeah,
Oh goodness.
he's funny.
That's your
But
manager.
yeah,
Oh, wow.
a little underpaid comedian. But yes, thank you guys for taking time out of your Sunday to take part in this interview and discussion. Next week we're going to have a co-worker of mine, Miss Sandra Covington. She released a book as well. Next weekend is actually, I believe, her official release, where she's doing her book release next Saturday. So it's just fitting, and this wasn't planned at all. It wasn't fitting. I just was trying to fill my dates, and I was like, "Are you available on May 2nd?" And she was like, "Yeah." She was like, "Actually, that's the day after my book release." I was like, "Oh, okay, great." So there's that publicity, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, she wrote a book, and it's very unique because her husband is a truck driver. So basically, she wrote a book talking about, you know, the life of the wife of a truck driver. Basically, because they're always gone.
Yes. Wow.
They're always gone. So it's going to be very, very interesting next week. I know it's going to be another very powerful interview and discussion. So I'm looking forward to that. Also, we have some new My Life is Under Construction t-shirts that's coming. So look out for those. Once I get them, I'll start plugging them on the LifeStruction with Eric page. Of course, we'll be giving out some once we get them, to some lucky winners. But yeah, we'll have those soon. Okay. Let's see what else we have going on. I think that's about it. Real quick, I don't know if she's still on, but earlier I saw Karen Lashley. And I only know one Karen Lashley, so I'm thinking it's the Karen Lashley that I'm not gonna say grew up in my neighborhood. I grew up in her neighborhood because she's much older than me. She may have logged off by now, but if you're still on, thank you so much for tuning in, Karen. She was like one of the adults. She wasn't like real older than me, but she was like one of the adults. If you was doing something you didn't have no business, and she drove down the street, you was like, oh, there goes Miss Karen. She gonna tell my mama. So yeah, but I saw her earlier come in. She may have logged off by now, but yeah, I want to just thank her for being on. But yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. You guys have a blessed week, and remember, smile from your heart. It'll bless somebody else's day. I say it every week. When you know that you have the power on the inside of you, you wake up in the morning, slide out of bed, pray, smile from your heart, and go on without your day. You have the power to walk into a room that's dead, and because of you walking into that room, the whole mood in that room would shift because of that smile on the inside of your heart that you bring into that room. So with that, have a great week. Smile from your heart and connect with me this week. And we're going to push through this week and meet again here next Sunday. Love you guys and have a blessed week.
Thank you.